listening to Vancouver Cooperative Radio's CFRO 102.7, streaming live at coopradio.org. This is the rational, critical voices to the issues that matter. I'm Gary Jarvis. 1 year ago, Vancouver, Richmond and Whistler was buzzing with the 2010 Winter Olympics. During that time, Vancouver looked very different and at the same time looked, well, just like Vancouver. What was different? It was hard not to notice all the Olympic workers and volunteers in their various coloured jackets. Then there was the security in place for the Games. There was the VPD and the RCMP, the Special Integrated Security Force, the Army and even Canadian Border Service officers were out and about. Overhead there was the constant noise of helicopters. Some Vancouverites chose to escape the city altogether and take a vacation. For many, that wasn't a choice. In particular, the homeless of Vancouver had nowhere to go. For them, life went on much the same as it did prior to the Olympics. But something interesting also happened in their world during the Games. On February 15th, the first Monday of the Olympics, housing activists took possession of 58 West Hastings. At the time, it was completely empty. The previous building had been demolished to make way for redevelopment. The Olympics might be a fading memory, but the Olympic Village at False Creek remains an icon of the Games. The Olympic Village represents the sporting spirit of the Games for some. For others, it represents the city's abandonment of the promise of social housing at the site. This coming Saturday, housing activists will reconvene 1 year on from the Olympics and last year's tent village to set up a new tent village. Nate Crompton, an organiser with the Olympic Village Tent City, is with us here at Co-op Radio to talk about what might happen. Good evening, Nate.
Hi, thanks for having me.
A housing rally is planned for this Saturday coming. Where and when is that?
The rally starts at the Pantages Theatre, just off Main and Hastings, and it starts there, and then it goes down to the Olympic Village to set up the Olympic Village Tent City. Okay,
and when was the decision made to go ahead with the setting up of a tent village at the Olympic Village site?
I think that the Olympic Village was announced almost 6 months ago. One group that's involved in the Tent City Council that's been organizing the Tent City announced the Tent City almost like I said 6 months ago, sort of with the idea of influencing the marketing effort that they had been trying to kind of carry out throughout the year since the closing of the Olympics. And the idea was to have this idea of a looming action at the Olympic Village while the city and Bob Rennie and the marketers were trying to sell off the promised housing at the Olympic Village.
What challenges will housing activists face in setting up a tent village at the Olympic Village site?
I think it's like any tent city or action that's happened in Vancouver in recent past, which is you never really know. There's a lot of variables, but I think that it could go well, and I think it probably will go well. Yeah.
Okay. Now, one of the things that is often talked about with regards to the Olympic Village site is the fact that the city is trying to recover some of its losses by focusing on selling suites there. Is there an alternative to this?
Yeah, so the whole line or the narrative that the city has that the city and the taxpayer is on the hook is for us a total false narrative that they have, and they've somehow constructed it out of this argument. But the reality is that the developer, yes, is on the hook. The private developer is on the hook. But what we're saying, and what we've been saying the whole time, is that the city shouldn't be bailing out this private developer. Yes, Millennium Water could lose money, but there's absolutely no reason that we should be bailing them out. What we should be doing is getting the money back that's owed on the loan, and if there's a financial difficulty for the city, they can do a number of things that will bring in revenue for them. They can raise taxes. Vancouver has the lowest corporate taxes in the world, according to a recent report by international auditing firm KPMG. Vancouver has a multi-billion-dollar fund called the Property Endowment Fund. They could draw funding from that if they'd like to, but the whole idea that somehow the Olympic Village spells this financial emergency for the taxpayers of the city is a dishonest and untrue story that's being told to scare people out of fighting for promised, purpose-built social housing at the Olympic Village.
Okay, Nate, and you're with the you're one of the organisers with the Olympic Village Tent City, which is planning to sell up the tent village this weekend. What other groups are involved? Is it like an umbrella group?
Yeah, it's a coalition that's formed. There's a group called the Tent City Council or Tent City Organizing Committee. We've been meeting every Sunday for the last 5 weeks, and there's a number of organizations that have been coming to those meetings. There's the Downtown Eastside Neighborhood Council. There's members from Carnegie. There's the Council of Canadians, Vancouver Action, and another half dozen groups who have been coming to that meeting, and another dozen endorsers of the tent city.
Okay, now what can the tent village protest achieve?
So, as it's been from the very beginning, our goal has really been to influence and impact the marketing effort. So what's going on is the city is trying to sell and market promised social housing units. So as always, we're trying to disrupt the marketing effort, attach political struggle to the site, and to make it more difficult to think of this property development as a harmonious place to be for property owners and land speculators. So the idea is, as we've been doing for the last year through protests, rallies, squats, petitions, presence at City Hall, and all those things, what we've been trying to do is kind of attach politics to the site. So with the Tent Village, it's really the same thing. But now, even beyond that, in addition to that, we're going to be kind of creating a community and really a place for people to go if they feel that there's nowhere to go, and if they feel that they no longer want to be living in the streets, for example, on their own. If people feel like they want to get together collectively so they're not being constantly picked off by the Vancouver police, for example, or harassed by the Vancouver police as individuals. So a lot like with last year's